Hey, everybody. Welcome to Friar Territory, part of the Foul Territory Network. I am Darren Smith. That is Marty Caswell. Welcome to June. The Padres were off on June 1st, so this is our first show for the month of June as we say goodbye to the month of May. Coming up, we will speak with Kyle Glaser, who is the original host of Friar Territory, so stay tuned for that. We will talk a little bit about some of the news, the Padres in Philadelphia, as we're getting set on a Tuesday to begin a 3-game series before returning back home. Marty, we can talk all we want about what it was that happened against the Washington Nationals. The Padres dropped 2 out of 3 in the nation's capital, but more importantly, Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a home run. Where were you when Fernando hit his first home run of 2026?
I was in the kitchen and I had to explain to my nephew August why it was such a remarkable deal. Why a player hitting a home run was cause for like, oh, I can't believe this. This is amazing. And so I think he understood the gravity of the moment. And this has been something that Padres fans have been waiting for really the entire season. And he hears his name. He is showing off his Friar Territory shirt that he has, Darren, and that you don't have. You're being taunted by an 8-year-old. How do you feel? Okay.
It's just par for the course, that everybody else has the Friar Territory gear and I do not. So it makes perfect sense. Marty, I was riding my bicycle and I could sense that something had happened. I was riding on the strand, the Silver Strand from Imperial Beach into Coronado. And I could hear the echoes of people cheering all across San Diego Bay. So I knew something monumental happened.
Oh,
And by
really?
the time I had stopped riding my bicycle, I had 58,000 text messages, all from people saying it has happened. Our long-suffering nightmare is over. Fernando Tatis Jr. has actually hit a home run in 2026.
Did you know? I know. Listen, there are people who will go ahead and compose a tweet ahead of time. Did you have one saved, bookmarked, scheduled for when that momentous moment happened? And by the way, that you could feel just the tension and the relief just exuding from his body, just the body language, the joy on his face, the relief, his teammates. That was really, really cool. And then when I saw that little home run celebration that he did with Nick Castellanos, I'm like, was that organic or was that something they actually rehearsed ahead of time? Like, listen, it's going to come one day and this is how it's going to go, right?
I don't know. It's a fair question. I did not hear any answer to it. Yeah, I mean, I did. I think you could sense the relief the second. He could tell right off the bat that it was gone. Yeah. So you could see the relief. Now, unfortunately, we also have the game on Sunday where he went 0 for 4. So I don't really know what any of this means other than we don't really have to spend much time talking about it. No, right. To answer your question, I did not have any sort of social media post prepared in the drafts. I don't even know. I figured everybody else probably did. We know a lot of people in our industry and a lot of fans who we've engaged with over the years who probably did have those posts ready. Mm-hmm. If I was going to do one, I was probably going to do one from the downtown gas lamp celebration back from a few years ago where the streets, people were in their cars honking horns, etc.
Right.
Also, there's some really cool soccer videos that are floating around about this is the exact moment that PSG won the Champions League, and you can hear the whole city of Paris celebrating. But, yeah, that's about as much thought as I gave to it. Do you want to shout anybody out? Did anybody have a nice, outstanding social media post that made you chuckle, or was it all pretty boring, standard, predictable?
It was just like, you've got to be kidding me. And Darren, I know that you and I were going to go ahead and talk about some of the main numbers from the Padres. And the thing that gets me, like, right, Tatis was maybe their best hitter in the month of May, right? He hit, 284, 1 home run. He had 5 RBIs. He had 5 extra base hits. Fernando Tatis Jr. had a total of, in 1 month, of all his hits. Of his, how many hits did he have? 21 of his 29 hits? I'm sorry, 4 extra base hits. A couple of doubles, a triple, and 1 home run. The Padres go 13-15. If you're Tatis and you're his teammates, I think you're just delighted. You are ecstatic the month of May, that the May gray is behind you, and you can hopefully look forward to a much better June. Although I think the schedule becomes a lot tougher, Darren, when you look at the quality of the opponents, with the exception of, I think, the Baltimore Orioles and maybe the Mets. Everybody they're playing is a playoff team, right? Including maybe the best team in baseball, the Atlanta Braves, the Dodgers, who really haven't skipped a beat despite all their injuries. It's just like, man, if you're a Tatis, you're hoping that you can parlay some of those great numbers into a much better June, because, man, the Padres were just, they were abysmal in May. 13-15, scored, 88 total runs in May, after scoring 127 in April. In April. It's staggering to me.
So a couple things. You talked about Tatis and the lack of extra base hits. It's not just the home runs. And he has become a singles merchant. All right. I mean, he has 49 singles heading into the game, the first game against the Philadelphia Phillies. That is sixth in Major League Baseball. So, he's hitting a lot of singles, which is okay. Do we have to adjust? Is this what we're going for here with Fernando? I don't think so. You are right. Under 500 in May, and these kind of things happen. But
Right.
Marty, I'm glad you brought up the 88 runs scored because I saw this on Baseball Reference and I thought, wow, 88 runs scored. And listen, just so we're all clear here, right? There are months sometimes the season starts early and you play a handful of games, really in March, so you play 4 or 5 games or whatever. Sometimes you play a handful of regular season games in October. I'm talking about regular months of baseball. 88 runs. I was like, wow, that feels really low to me. Let me go season by season and see how this compares because you're right. Normally in a month you are over 100 runs scored. And you have to go back, Marty, to 20, where was it here? You have to go back to May of 2017. That's the last time the Padres scored 88 runs in a month.
Incredible.
You have to go back to July of 2015. That's the last time that they scored fewer than that number. So this number is
2015?
something. Yeah, you have to go back to July of 2015.
Remember what happened in
That's the last
2015?
time-
Wow.
Yeah, I do. So, again, this is how May has gone here. This is the lowest scoring team in the National League. This is the third lowest scoring team in all of Major League Baseball. As of the time of this recording, they are behind, I want to say, Kansas City and Detroit. So this is just a long-winded way of saying goodbye to May, and let's hope that June is better because I think June, Marty, is it's probably going to be a pretty important month to try to figure out what course the general manager of the Padres is going to take and how he addresses some of the deficiencies of this roster. This is usually the month now where you've settled in, you're through April, okay, you're working out some of the kinks. In May, are you figuring some things out? Who's going to be a part of this? Who's not going to be a part of this? We're going to talk about some of the reporting here. The Padres are going to be calling up a player from AAA.
Right.
But this is also a month where the Padres have tried players like Jason Hayward, like Nelson Cruz, and they've just decided, it ain't happening. So we're going to move on, trading Connor Joe, et cetera. So June is the month now because we're starting to hear speculation about certain players who might be available out there on the market.
Skubal is the big one. I know Ken Rosenthal, Foul Territory, had a clip of that
But
yesterday.
you're right.
But yeah,
Philadelphia, the Mets under 500, Cincinnati, Baltimore, St. Louis, Texas under 500, Atlanta top team in the NL, Dodgers top team in the NL, Cubs, kind of hard to get a read on what they're all about. Sometimes they win 10, sometimes they lose 10 in a row.
Right.
Nobody can quite figure that out. So, that's the way it looks. But it's a schedule on paper that you think there's going to be some challenges here. So if you're trying to figure out, are we worthy of this conversation about Tarik Skubal that Ken Rosenthal is having on Foul Territory? I'm not sure if we are, but I have a feeling that June is going to tell us a lot of what we need to know since this is kind of the month where you really need to evaluate who you are and what you're all about.
Let's go ahead and hear a quick clip from Ken Rosenthal about the trade rumors regarding Skubal, who's going to be the number one pitcher probably available in that market. And again, to your point, Darren, if you're AJ Preller and before you trade your top, what prospects you have left for the best pitcher available on the market, you had better be sure that this team is World Series caliber. You have got to believe that. You know what? My offense has figured it out. This is going to be the missing piece, and maybe you get Musgrove back, and maybe you get Pivetta back in that final month. But before you go ahead and you mortgage your remaining prospects, you have got to be convinced. Here's Rosenthal from yesterday.
The Padres, of course they're going to be in. They've got AJ Preller as their GM. They've got a staff that is still questionable. Rotation, I should say, that is still questionable. Their bullpen, of course, is the best in the game. They need offense, at least from what we've seen so far, but AJ Preller would be in, and I would not be surprised, as I wrote, if he is already calling around, trying to get prospects from other teams to put in a Skubal deal.
Interesting.
Listen, it is. But Darren, I would expect listen, it's AJ Preller. I would expect him to call on everybody, just every single player out there. I just don't know how realistic. How do they line up prospect wise? Like how do you line up with a team like the Dodgers? Of course, the Dodgers are in it because are they going to trust Blake Snell whenever he comes back, or Glasnow when he comes back? Right? I mean. What do the Padres have to realistically give up? Maybe when Kyle Glaser joins the show, he has some answers. But man, that's just okay. Of course he's in. He's always in on everybody, right?
He's always in. But I would tell you another month. If the month of June is like the month of May, I don't think so. I don't think he is going to be part of this conversation. Preller has this reputation. It's almost become habit for the insiders like Ken Rosenthal to talk about. Well, of course, Preller's going to be in, right? And respectfully towards Ken and Bob Nightingale and everybody else. Of course, AJ Preller, he's always got something up his sleeve. But even going back to last year, Marty, what I've learned about AJ Preller, and I think you would agree, he's only going to invest top prospect capital in teams that he feels like will win and have a chance of winning a World Series. Not just to throw a Hail Mary. The trading of Leo DeVries last year for Mason Miller, amongst other trades, was because Preller believed that they had an opportunity to win big. They didn't. They lost against the Chicago Cubs, so it didn't happen. But those are the times, Juan Soto, when you trade James Wood, C.J. Abrams, Mackenzie Gore. I don't think he does anything that's that big. And it would have to be big if you're going to be in the conversation for Skubal.
Right.
If things don't start looking better pretty soon, which is why the month of June is so important. Because I don't think he just does that for the sake of doing it. I think he really believed that last year's team, that he could win with that team. And you bring in Mason Miller and you bring in some of the Laureano, O'Hearn. Those are the kind of pieces he thought could get them over the top.
Right.
It didn't happen. I don't think he's going to be gun shy. But I don't think he's going to be stupid and reckless and trade in something that he doesn't believe in. So that's why I think the month of June is rather important. We're going to talk a little bit about Jase Bowen. Who is Jase Bowen? Why are we talking about him? We will get to that when we come back. And we're also going to talk with our friend Kyle Glaser about the state of the Padres and some of the stuff that's happening with the collective bargaining. They're already negotiating through the media. So we'll get to all of that fun stuff when we come back on Friar Territory.
Well, Darren, the Padres are at the Phillies. And I know I mentioned last week that, who was it? It was Kyle Schwarber had, 73 home runs against the Padres. So very easy to go in on Kyle Schwarber, Darren, as my daily dinger of the week or of the day, because Schwarber just owns the Padres. He just does. Or maybe it'll be Tatis.
Marty?
Yes?
I don't know, Marty. I mean, these two teams can't slug at all. I mean, these two teams just have all sorts of problems here. It is one where the on-base percentages, the battle of two of the lowest on-base percentages in all of Major League Baseball coming up. 340 on Tuesday. Stay tuned for that. Good luck to Randy Vasquez and Nola. I'm going to have to just go off the Padres and Phillies for a bit because I need to take a break from these two struggling teams. I don't know that I believe in either one of them going ahead and hitting a home run. So I think your best bet is probably, even in a small ballpark like Citizens Bank, to just go off and find one of these other dudes. Go find maybe Shohei Ohtani can hit one or somebody else. I just don't believe that we're going to see a lot here. So I'm not sure. These might be pitching duels. But listen, Daily Dingers is presented by FanDuel. So if you want to go be part of this conversation, certainly get on in. Like Marty said, she's a big believer in the long ball. MLB season's in full swing. FanDuel's giving you a chance to call your shot with Daily Dingers. Joining the action's easy. Make your free pick who's going to hit a home run in the game. If you're right, you're going to get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Just another reason why FanDuel is the home of home runs. So if you're ready to play, pretty simple. FanDuel.com/podcast. Get started. FanDuel.com/podcast. Opt in. Daily Dingers make your free pick. Free. Who's going to hit a homer? Play ball. Swing for the fences on FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball.
All right, Darren. So before we welcome in Kyle Glaser, right? So it's Padres have Randy Vasquez, Walker Buehler, and then
Buehler.
Lucas Giolito. And of course, they get Christopher Sanchez, who's on a ridiculous historical scoreless streak on Wednesday. I'm going to go ahead and go with Jackson Merrill. Jackson Merrill is starting to bust out a little bit, right? We talked last week about his approach that he's making at the plate. We talked with Bob Scanlon, actually, yesterday. I'm going to go with Jackson Merrill working out some of those kinks. That's who I have hitting a home run in Philly. Schwarber will hit number 74 against the Padres. But I'm starting to see something from Jackson Merrill. I think he'll figure it out.
Okay. Well, I'll go with the new guy then. I'll bet on Jase
Bowen. What do you know about Jase Bowen, Darren?
Lots.
Making his major league debut. You know, all these issues we're talking about, the Padres' defensive struggles, right? We talked about, Manny Machado led the Padres in home runs the month of May. 6 home runs, 14 RBI. He hit a $127. 127 with a 324 slug. But hopefully Jase Bowen is the missing link the Padres need to jumpstart that offense. Let's go.
So Marty, let's talk a little bit about this. Are we still doing the FanDuel thing here, or are we? What do we got? All right. So
no purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, that's my bad. How dare I step over that sexy voice that you just heard doing that read here. So there was reporting on Monday that Jase Bowen, who, at least according to MLB Pipeline, is the 23rd ranked Padres prospect. But, the Padres don't have a lot of high-end prospects here, so he is the highest rated outfield prospect in AAA, was signed in the offseason, was part of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. The PCL has been very, very good to him. He's having a breakout season, to say the very least. The reporting, Marty, we don't have any other information, is that he is going to be added to the roster. There's speculation about whose spot he's going to take on the 40-man roster and on the 26-man roster. We just don't have that information. At least we don't, but maybe Kyle Glaser does, because he's always dialed in and he's always got the scoop here. So we always welcome him back. The prodigal son has returned. Kyle Glaser, welcome back to Friar Territory. How are you?
Doing all right. Just getting back from paternity leave. My wife had our second daughter about a month ago, so you'll have to excuse me. The baby did not sleep great last night, so if I slur my words a little bit or stumble over myself, that's why. My synapses are not firing 100% right now.
Well, congratulations, okay. Kyle. Great to see you. It's great to see you. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations from everybody, your family here at Friar Territory and Foul Territory as well. So everybody's doing well. That's great. We got another little Friar coming out of the oven there as well. So we're looking forward to that. Kyle, I would ask you, I know you've been dialed in since your days with Baseball America and such. And listen, I can read numbers and I understand the Padres are looking for some infusion of offense. We just went over some of the futility in the month of May, 88 runs scored. I mean, that is just, you have to go back several seasons to find a month that's been that low production-wise from a Padres offense. What can you tell us about Jase Bowen?
Yeah, so he was drafted by the Pirates in the 11th round a few years back, got an overslot bonus. He's a physical, athletic kid. There's no question, right? He can run, he can throw, he can play all 3 outfield spots, and there is real power and real thump in the bat. The power is not a PCL mirage. The issue is the contact. That is the part of this that is a little bit of a PCL mirage. The average up near 300. The question with him has always been, will he make enough contact? It is fair to say the assessment of evaluators is that he really is kind of that 4th, 5th outfielder type who comes off the bench, plays good defense, hits a few homers, but you don't want him playing every day because he's just not going to hit enough. So I think it's important people look at Jase Bowen as, hey, come up, add some pop, just give us another good defender in the outfield and call it a day. Don't come up expecting him to be the savior of the Padres offense. And let's be clear, there's not one person anywhere who would be the savior of the Padres offense. This is about, this is a 5-alarm fire, and we'll get into some of the numbers behind it here in a second. But in terms of Jase Bowen, again, huge accomplishment, making his big league debut, getting that first call, but so special. He definitely should help, at least in that complimentary role. I would just caution, I don't want people coming and thinking he's going to save the team and then being disappointed, because that's not a fair expectation to put on him.
So he's Bryce Johnson with more pop?
I would say Bryce Johnson is better contact. He's probably a better straight up center fielder, whereas Bowen is sort of a good all three spots. He's not as strong in center as Johnson is. And again, it's power over hit there, whereas Johnson's more hit over power.
And just to put a little bit of numbers there from what Kyle is talking about, 689 strikeouts in 635 minor league games. So, it's a bit. 86 home runs. Kyle's point also, he's played mostly center, but he can play a little bit of right. He can play a little bit of left. To your point about him being an athlete, he can run a little bit. He can apply pressure in different ways is sort of the scouting report that I got. And just to underscore that, I guess he was a two-sport athlete in high school. And had a scholarship to Michigan State to play wide receiver, if I've read this. So, he's like a legit athletic type. Now, again, I don't know, Kyle. I mean, we've seen a million of these guys come through the PCL, and I never really know what to make of the numbers in the Pacific Coast League. He's been with the Pirates. He's never quite had a season like this. He's had some okay seasons in A and AA. But the PCL, like, does the PCL still have that reputation of juicing your offensive numbers a little bit?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Whatever you think good numbers are in the PCL, add 50 points to each of them, and that's what I reeled in. When Ty France hit 399 in the PCL, that was a sign of, okay, this is real. When Christian Walker hit some obscene slash line in the PCL, that's when it's real. When a guy has a slash line that's like, oh, that's pretty good, like 290, 350, 500, in the PCL, that doesn't actually mean a whole lot. So, I mean, you need obscene numbers in the PCL to be real. So again, I want to give him credit. He has performed. You can only play in the parks you're in. You can only play against the pitchers you're facing. And he has done his job. He has earned this call-up. And I think that it's a tremendous accomplishment. And I don't want to in any way, shape, or form suggest that he's unworthy in any way. I just think it's important people have fair expectations and understand, hey, like you said, Darren, this is a complementary piece. Hey, go play all three outfield spots. Add a little pressure on the defense on the base pass. Pop a home run here and there. Again, he is a helping piece. He is not a centerpiece.
I know that when when Sungmoon Song was called up and he made his major league debut, he gave the Padres like that instant spark in Game 1 versus the Giants, and I think since then he's barely played. Maybe he's gotten 2 starts or so we'll see what happens. So it's important to remember that Jase Bowen is not the solution. He's not the savior. Go ahead and take those numbers for what they are in El Paso. And this is what Craig Stanton will tell you when he talks to the media today, or perhaps AJ Preller. The Padres' answers lie within that same clubhouse. It's still Tatis, it's Machado, it's Bogarts, it's Jackson Merrill finding form. Kyle, you alluded to the possible ugly numbers, the ugly numbers from the Padres. What jumps out at you the most when you look at this Padres team?
How all-encompassing the failures are, and it's not just one thing. So entering today, the Padres are dead last in the majors in runs scored. Not the Marlins, not the Pirates, not these sad sack franchises. The Padres, with more than $1.2 billion worth of contracts in their lineups, are dead last in runs scored. They're last in batting average. They're bottom 3 in on-base and slugging percentage. And when you drill down, it's not like it's one issue they're having, right? It's not like, oh, they're just struggling against fastballs. It's everything. They have the second lowest average in the majors against fastballs. They have the lowest average in the majors against breaking balls, and the third lowest average in the majors against off-speed pitches, changeups and such. They are struggling against every type of pitch, against every type of pitcher, in every ballpark and every situation. And we have seen Padres teams in the past where the roster or the lineup was incomplete, right? The bottom half really was not major league caliber. The bench was not, as strong as it should have been. That's not the case with this year's team. What we're seeing right now, this is not a personnel problem. This is a performance problem. And they need to find answers and find them fast because nothing is going right now.
I'd said earlier that they were third. I missed, I guess, that Kansas City and Detroit have jumped over them in the last 24 hours. So is there reason for optimism, Kyle? Because I hear a lot about hard hit balls. I mean, they're hitting the ball hard. So, I guess that's in some people's opinion. It's a sign that maybe good things are going to come. Maybe they've been a victim of bad luck, bad bip, all that sort of stuff.
So they also are among the league leaders in ground ball rate. So on the one hand, yes, hard contact, it's good. You need to see more hard line drives. You need to see more hard hit balls in the air. And right now, again, it's not like this is a Padres team where it's just one guy hitting way below his career numbers. It's 6-7 guys. And anytime you have this many players this far below their career averages, with the entire team struggling against every type of pitch, you have to look at your processes. You have to look at what information you're communicating. You have to look at what you're teaching. You have to look at what you're working on mechanically. And frankly, scrap it. They don't have time to mess around here. This is still a team that, despite all this, they have the 4th best record in the National League. There is still time for this team to not only make the playoffs, but make it comfortably. But if they insist on processism and we believe in the process and just keep doing what we're doing, that's going to go away very, very quickly. They need to be clear-eyed and recognize what they're doing has been a complete and total failure in every aspect, and they need to fix it, and they need to fix it before it's too late.
Where does that start from? I mean, listen, Darren, I'm sure you know this, Kyle, but Darren and I have spent countless hours talking about who's given the information and the hitting coach. And I know the Padres have gone through 1,000 hitting coaches, and Kyle Glaser is frozen. Is everybody frozen except for me right now? What's happening here? Looks like it. Give me 1 second, guys. Wait. Oh, wait. Hey, we're not frozen. We're back. Maybe it was me. I'm going to blame both of you. All right, Kyle, Darren, we're talking about the hitting coach, about the information. Again, where do you start? Where do you go? I mean, I don't know how here on June 2nd you start from scratch when it comes to how the Padres are executing, how they're processing their information.
So again, I don't believe that firing the hitting coach is just magically going to change anything, but I think you can always look at, okay, what information are we communicating it? Are we communicating? How are we communicating it? What does our pregame routine look like? What is the work we're doing in the cage? What does that look like? What are we emphasizing? Those are all things you can change. Those are all adjustments you can make. And I do think it's important for the Padres at the front office level on down to evaluate their processes, because we're more than a third of the way into the season. And again, it's not like, oh, there's just one thing going wrong here. They're bottom of the league against every kind of pitch in every situation. That's a comprehensive issue. That's not, oh, our process is fine, just our luck will turn. They really need to be clear-eyed about it and address it proactively and aggressively.
I am curious. I'm curious.
Preach, Kyle. Preach.
Yeah.
Preach. Music to my ears.
I'm actually curious how much the players are now taking it upon themselves to go ahead and do it. I know Darren talked about it on this. We talked about in the last homestand when after the game, Gavin Sheets, and I know AC wrote about it, but Gavin Sheets and Jackson Merrill and a bunch of the hitters were just sitting around their lockers, just talking, having a beer, talking about their philosophy and their struggles. And then, earlier then it was Manny and Fernando and Ramon Laureano, and these guys are just, I'm seeing more and more of it this season. And I'm sure it happens when we are not in that clubhouse, but I'm noticing it a lot more this season where guys are in small groups of hitters and just sitting there talking about what is happening here. So we'll see. Kyle, I'm not sure if you know this, but how often has a team made a change? You can point to what the Phillies are doing. They made a change with Mattingly. They've been a much better since getting rid of Thompson. But how often does a team make a change in the coaching staff and the team finds a way to turn things around?
It does happen. We see it more with managers. You talk about hitting coaches. The Mariners fired Brant Brown early in the season a few years back. It didn't make a substantial difference. The Mets fired Chili Davis early in the season a few years back, much to the annoyance of a lot of players. That didn't make a significant difference. So again, I don't think firing one person is going to substantively change all that's going wrong. I want to repeat what I said. This is not a personnel issue. This is a performance issue. The Padres have all the players they need to have at least a league average offense. So when it's this bad, again, there's a comprehensive process issue that needs to be addressed from the top of the organization on down. And it's not just about one person. It has to be organization-wide, a full process review. And again, waiting a month is not going to make this any better. They need to be aggressive about this.
Yeah, I mean, this is all really well said. And again, it goes back to the point because it's, I just keep saying the same thing. I'm not saying one person is to blame, but there's something that's wrong and there has been changes made. So usually in any line of work, you point and say, well, what changed here that resulted in this thing dropping off so much? Hey, Kyle, before we wrap up here and the Padres get set to play the Phillies, what did you think of the public relations approaches from both Major League Baseball and from the MLBPA? Because it seemed like things last week, it was like a ray of optimism. And then, of course, we get into the month of June and it's like, nope, definitely going to have a work stoppage, which I think is what people believed all along. But what have you made just a little bit of the, the public proposals from both the league, the Players Association, and now, of course, we've had the rhetoric ratcheted up a little bit to the point where the MLB interim, well, there it is right there. MLB interim executive director Bruce Meyer said yesterday on Monday that the Padres should be an example for all the teams. We want to encourage more San Diego. San Diego's a small market team that went out, decided to compete, signed lots of players, turned around their franchise. They're successful. They've grown attendance. They've grown interest. We've seen the explosion of their franchise value. This is so predictable based on the sale price of the Padres to Kwanzaa Jones, Jose Feliciano at $3.9 billion. What did you make? Just a little bit of the back and forth between the two sides so far.
This is what you should expect. Each side comes out with a proposal, the other side blasts it, and it's just going to be a lot of rhetoric. It's going to be a lot of angry tones and indignation and pointing at different facts. This is how this is going to go. The negotiation will play out in public. It will be ugly. We will have a work stoppage. All that being said, nothing really matters until we get to March of next year. Whatever they say, whatever, insults they fling, whatever, case studies they point to support their argument, it really doesn't matter until we get to next March and the threat of games lost actually looms. But look, even if we get an agreement with no games lost, let's not kid ourselves. This is not going to be some pleasant, cordial, super friendly experience. This is going to be knock down, drag it out, just as every labor negotiation is. So on the one hand, you see all this and it doesn't make you feel great, but none of this is unexpected. I will say what's unexpected is that happened this early. I would have thought we would have started seeing this more like August, September, not May, June.
Mm-hmm. I know. And baseball's on a good run too, which, makes you scratch your head a little bit. What do we just think real quick of the Padres being held up by the Players Association as an example?
The poster boy, poster child.
Yeah, as the poster boy for what small market teams should be doing.
So this is one of my pet peeves, and I think it bears repeating. Media market size and market size are two different metrics. San Diego is a large to mid-size market based off county and city size. It is a small medium market. So San Diego being a large to mid-sized market with a ton of disposable income, the ability to spend was always there. You just had ownership that couldn't afford to, with Morad and then Moore's post-divorce. I think on the one hand, people are holding it up, but they're kind of conflating market size with mid-market size, which we see, medium market size, which we see a lot. So, every side is going to point to the example, just as Major League Baseball now is going to say, oh, well, look at the Brewers and, all of them. Yeah, they can win the regular season, but they can't win in the postseason. And you hold up the Padres, they haven't gotten past, the DS except for one time in the last 25 years. So, there's so many aspects of this that each side is going to be able to point to. And again, buckle up, prepare for it to be ugly, prepare for there to be a lot of incomplete arguments that service what they want you to believe. And just know you got to tune it out, because at the end of the day, it's all kind of noise until we get to next March.
I don't know, Kyle. I'm compiling screenshots and tweets from both sides, but hey, we're going to have months and months to go ahead and get to this. Here's the one question I have right now. Okay, will the MLBPA ever agree to a salary cap? Ever?
I have a very, very hard time believing. I've learned in this world to never say never, but I don't see it happening. I just don't. That has been their red line for as long as they've existed. Bruce Meyer is not a pushover here. Everything that happened with the PA and Tony Clark being pushed out, Bruce Meyer is an experienced negotiator. This isn't an ex-player who can get steamrolled like Tony Clark did sometimes. So I will say this.
What a mess.
I do not believe the Major League Baseball Players Association will ever agree to a salary cap or a hard cap of any type. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I just do not see a scenario where that happens, though.
I would agree. And to Kyle's point, think of it this way when you think about markets and market size. Your market is your immediate family, right? Got a big family, got a lot of brothers and sisters. Your market size is your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, right? Like Los Angeles has this big city and they have this big market because they have all these surrounding areas. San Diego doesn't have that. So they have a really big family, immediate family, but what they don't have is the extended family the size of some of the bigger markets that we're talking about when it comes to market size. So it's just that your reach, your family gatherings are a little bit bigger in some of the bigger markets than they are when you just have that immediate family.
Wait, so San Diego's an only child?
No, it's got a big family, but they just don't have a lot of cousins, and they don't have a lot of aunts and uncles and all that sort of stuff. You know, you're just like a big family. You got like 10 people in your family, brothers and sisters everywhere, but that's about it. Whereas in LA, you got a big family and you have all these cousins and aunts and uncles and everybody else out there that you can go and you can hang out with. So, that's just the best way for me to try to explain it. I hope it makes sense because it does in my mind. Kyle Glaser, Knicks or Spurs? What do you think?
Come on, there's only one. Be careful. Careful, Kyle.
So the Knicks look ridiculously good right now.
Yes.
I am having a hard time envisioning a world in which the New York Knicks are NBA champions because for my entire life, they have been a joke. They have been an also-ran. I mean, I'm not old enough to remember the 1994 finals.
Okay.
The 1999 finals was a lockout shortened season. I don't know how much that actually counts.
Didn't.
It's still weird for me. I still think of the Knicks as Isaiah Thomas and just being a dumpster fire year after year.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're this good, playing this well, is still hard for me to wrap my head around. But I do think that they will win the championship. They look like they're steamrolling everyone right now. They're a juggernaut.
Kyle, you are welcome back anytime, as you know. I am old enough to remember 94, and I have the battle scars to prove it. Thank you. We appreciate you, as always, Kyle Glaser. You're the best. For Marty Caswell, I am Darren Smith. Thank you for all the support here on Friar Territory. Subscribe on YouTube and wherever it is that you get your podcasts, and we'll see you next time.